Hey! Welcome to the stream, Dwarven Dad. How's it going? Hopefully you're doing well. Welcome to the stream on Bogus Meat Factory. Whoa, we got a night ahead of us. Tonight we're going to sit back, relax a little bit, take a load off, right, and delve into the deep and dark and unforgiving world of video pinball. We're gonna be playing a amazing game that I love. I've never really played it too much, but I love some some virtual pinball, some digital pinball. Take me just one fraction of a second before we get started, because I forgot to scan for the games. Big pinball fan, Dwarven Dad. What's your favorite pinball machine? What do you love to play? Do you do more like video game pinball, or do you more physical pinball? I'm a big pinball person. Like, I play a lot, and go to, like, we have out here. We used to go before I had kids and stuff. You're not a pinball wizard. Before I had kids, my wife and I would go yearly to this big pinball convention that was in our area, and so you'd pay like $12 and you get unlimited play for the whole day. And they had these huge machines in this like little convention center, and we would just play for like all day, be there all day. And it was nuts. They had all the great stuff, you know. They had like Attack on Mars and Medieval Madness, and like the classic stuff like Black Knight, Haunted House, or Haunted Mansion. They're super good. Loved them to death. But now we're gonna get right into the beef of things here. I'm super stoked. I love Sai. How's it going? I see you sleep creeping up on me here, Sai. How are you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. I love you to death, Sai. Just so you know. The old movie theater in town had the Addams Family pinball machine growing up. Excellent. I love it. Alright, let's see. Blink. 1 second here. Nope. Wrong thing. Boink. Boink. There. It's a pop-up stream tonight. Addams Family is really good. It's a lot of fun. So I didn't have time to change the virtual bedroom. So we're currently still in golf mode. It is what it is. Hey, Snake Rattle, get out of here. Nobody wants you. You get the wonderful sound of hearing my 5-year-old singing Sweet Nothings into the abyss. Pinball and golf room. Ew. Hey, man, they got balls. It takes balls. Where's my Genesis stuff? Where's my Genesis stuff? Game Boy. Hey, there should be some Genesis stuff here, boys. Game Boy, DOS, Sega Saturn. Where's my Genesis stuff? Hold on, as we attempt to fix this. Game scanner. 1 fraction of a second. Really? It wasn't added to the list. Let me fix that real quick. 1 second. Updating my core list. We're gonna try that again. 1 fraction of a second. I do apologize. It's one of those days. I had a crazy busy day. My kids were out of control today, but they were good. They were good overall. Just the last half of the day, they were crashing. It was a rainy day, so we're all inside, and they couldn't really go outside, so they were kind of cooped up. It didn't work so well for them, so they were just out of control this evening. Bedtime routine sucked. Rained all day there too. I know, and man, it's the worst when you rain because your kids want to do something and you can't really go out. You can't really do much. All right. Snake Round, get out of there. Don't want you. Okay. Genesis. Yeah, my stuff's there. Good. Alright, that is so messed up, but that's okay. Oops. Let's get you fixed. Yes! I'm super stoked for this, man. We might turn off the lights for this one. Yeah, let's turn off the lights. I'm so excited. Oops. Turn this up. It's so quiet. Why is that so quiet? Oh, I turned it low on my end. 1 second. I'll fix that. There we go. Get this music pumping. Capture skewed. Ah, that's because somebody was playing with my capture earlier. There. Thank you. Technical difficulties abated. Oh my goodness. Okay. Now, let's play. I don't know much about Devil's Crush / Devil Crash / Dragon's Rage. We're playing Devil Crash, the Japanese version of the Sega Genesis one, because it has the uncensored and all that stuff. This is the True Blue stuff. Did some research on this. Hold on. I need to move myself over a little bit. I'm not centered. There we go. The sound effect is great. Oh, come on, skeletons. That is my 5-year-old being a pain in the butt. Yes! Dragon's Revenge. Is it Dragon's Revenge? I thought it was Dragon's Rage. I don't know. It has so many names now at this point. There we go. That's helpful. Dude, J-Rod, thank you for the subscription, dude. Is it that time already? What in the world happened? Hi, thank you, dude. Samba. Samba Dejane. Welcome to the stream. This is Aloha. Are you a big video pinball fan, J-Rod? I love pinball of all shapes and sizes. Never really played this one, although I hear this is one of the greats. And so I had to check it out for myself. This was recommended by Sai, I think. Sai recommended this to me, I believe. And it was a great idea. What's that? Pinball in general. Nice. I'm with you, J-Rod. I love pinball a lot. I'm one of those guys who would spend, if I had, you know, all the free time in the world, I'd have my own machine, taking care of it like my baby. I would dream to have one at one point in time in my life, and I don't even really care what machine. I have my favorites, but in the end, I just want one. I would have been made uneasy by this as a kid / young teen. No, you're not wrong, Dwarven Dad. Like, I did a tiny bit of practice of this today just to kind of get a feel of like the controls and if it really was a good pinball game or not. And it's creepy. I was like, make sure my kids are not around to see it because it would have been freaky. I figured pinball would be great for a low impact stream. Sai, you were 100% right. Like, I don't get stressed with pinball. There's only one pinball game that's ever stressed me out, video pinball game that's ever stressed me out, and that was Kirby's Pinball on the Game Boy. That game stresses me out. I love it, and I beat it last year, early last year, and it stressed me out so much. I had it as a kid on the Game Boy, and my brother did at least, and I got to play it a lot, and I never got anywhere with it, and so I was like, this has to change. And it was the most stressful game. Not the most stressful, but it was such a stressful pinball game. It was brutal. Alright, let's see what happens. Bonus stage. Ooh, this one's a tough one. I haven't beat this one. So the goal is to hit the center door there. There's a center door. You got all these druids kind of stopping you, or mages, or whatever they are. This is a tough one. And all the while there's these red dots that are filling in, and I don't know what they mean, or what they represent. They're really cool. I love the bonus tables, Dwarven Dad. Come on. I hate when it does this and you just kind of jump in between all the different things. That's a tough one. That's a really tough bonus table. We didn't even see if we can beat this game, because you can. There's a way to beat it. Get sucked in. Oh, this is a crazy bonus table. This is a crazy one. The eyes fluttering open for the ball to get into. Come on. Oh, my ball. Whoever did, man, it's a great game. I enjoyed it when I tested of it. And I think that it is definitely worth attempting to beat. Ah, right down the middle. Apparently, if you on the TurboGrafx 16, the way to beat this game is just simply to get the highest score imaginable on it, and then it gives you credits. But on the Genesis, it's different. You have to beat all the special stages, which is gonna be hard. It's gonna be crazy hard. We didn't do too bad. That's not a bad start. Not a bad start. Oh, that was bad. That was real bad. What was I doing? Oh, pinball used to be intelligent. Well, there actually is a goal in this one, and there is an ending. There is an actual ending to the game. Doesn't make any sense apparently, but there's a way to beat it. I want to try. I do. Maybe we'll do it tonight. Who knows? This is definitely a fun. This is a great pick, Sai. A great pick, I have to add. Definitely what I needed. 100%. So I was thinking of doing maybe some like pinball effects and stuff like that, but I also wanted to be in the virtual bedroom. And this was spot on. Yeah, Sai recommended this for me because I was stuck. Like I wanted to play a Genesis game. And I didn't know what, because everything I wanted to do was a big time commitment, and I didn't want to be stuck in a big commitment right now. I wanted to just kind of take it easy. This dragon was a super easy special stage. I always beat this one. Did Burst play it recently? Nice. There you go. Stage 1. Stage 1 and 2 I typically can beat pretty easily. The stage 2 I think the one with the mages and the little balls that spin around them and you have to blow them up. I think that's the one. Oh, that was terrible. Oof. It was gnarly. We got a high score though, I think. Yeah. If we were playing in Dwarven Danza rules, I already beat the game. Congratulations. Well, that's the thing, Sai. No, it's not that crazy when you really think about it, right? Older pinball tables had major heavy sci-fi, fantasy elements, very over-sexualized, very much heavy metal, Bride of Pinbot. I mean, come on. There's Pinbot, Bride of Pinbot, and then you had stuff like Fireball, and then you go into the games like Playboy Baywatch. Like, there was some really crazy stuff, but then you also have like Black Knight. They were this weird idea of kind of this weird, you know, they had a, oops, I hit the wrong, we're gonna just restart, because that was bad. My 5-year-old is going nuts. I have not played Crewball, J-Rob. I got into video pinball more on, PC than anything. We're talking, like the Sierra stuff. They had a series of video pinball games which were really cool based on their franchises, based off the strategy game Outpost and a bunch of other stuff. And then getting into like the epic pinball and stuff like that when I was a kid. And so I never really did much in terms of this outside of Sonic's Pinball. Ooh, I haven't played this one. Outside of like Sonic's Pinball, I never played a lot of video pinball on consoles. That was almost exclusively for me, okay, a PC experience. And then we go, of course, you know, like Space Cadet Pinball or whatever on Windows. That was like your solitaire for a new era. I played a lot of that as a kid. Oh, we were so close. Space Cadet, yeah, that's a great one. So I haven't played Crewball. That'll be another one to add to the list at some point. I love doing just a random pinball stream when I don't really know what to do. I think pinball's a great choice. Yes. And like when we're talking like I play a lot of Pinball FX too on PC, and I have like stuff like Bride of Pinbot, which I got to the Millionaires Club in that. I did all the missions and completed Arabian Nights on there, as well as Funhouse. Like I've beaten those games where you've done all the missions and you get like the special prize and stuff like that for doing all the stuff. I call that beaten at that point if you've done all that. And so like I dig video pinball a lot. It's a lot easier than real pinball though, because real pinball, it's really about knowing the table itself more than anything. Where here, it follows the same rules every time. Like you'll always be able to know how it's gonna behave. In a real pinball table, you never know how it's gonna behave. So Space Cadet was your first pinball game? Nice. Yeah, I was a kid of the arcades, so like, I played everything as a kid. I was exposed to a lot of that stuff early on. I had much older brothers, and so I lived vicariously through them, and I was on that whole journey with them of video games. We would co-op all this stuff together. Ooh, I know I could get stuck there. tubes. Come on through the tubes. Get back in there. Nope, hold on. No arcades in rural Arkansas in the 90s. Yeah, I know. I lived in Sandusky, Ohio as a little kid, and then when we moved back here to Michigan, we had a place out here in Jackson, Michigan that had little arcades. Nothing too. Oh, we're so close. With a butt ton of pool tables. Oh man, bowling alleys were the best for me. But in Sandusky, Ohio, we had Cedar Point as a kid. So, and it had an enormous arcade inside of it. Cedar Point's a big roller coaster park, theme park, but it's really roller coasters more than anything. And it had this giant arcade with everything from early arcade stuff to the modern stuff. And it had, like, you know, the X-Men arcade, the big long widescreen cam, and everybody would be lined up to play as Nightcrawler or Wolverine, and nobody was there to play as the Dazzler, and I always play as the Dazzler. I always get to play because I would pick Dazzler. And it had like the giant gauntlet cab, which was really fun to play, and it had everything all the time. Always like the newest stuff too, for like the beat 'em ups and stuff. It was a grand time. I loved it as a kid. Oh, it's killing me. And even our arcades as a kid, like the bowling alleys as a kid, we had so many stuff. It was always filled with stuff. There we go. Oh, back to this guy again. Come on. This is the creepiest of the special stages that I've come across. The eyeballs flickering. Did you play crew ball? No, I did not lose. I did not play crew ball. How was that? Is it good? I would think so. Oh. Okay. Oh, oh, oh! Dang it! Again. What's crew ball like? Is it good? Is it based off of Motley Crue? I'm guessing it is. Yeah, this run is a bust. Oof, that was rough. But that's okay. We didn't do too bad. Just didn't beat any of the special stages. Gotta beat those special stages. Because I also know this is a password system, right? So like I have to beat those special stages, grab that password, and we'll use those as our kind of our segue, our process into beating this game. I mean, look at this art though. You got like the crazy sinewy skull head with the eyeballs bulging. You got the weird dragon with the eggs and like these weird creatures kind of lurching around. Whoops, that was terrible. And that female head that totally morphs into a dragon. It's great. Okay. I will check it out. For sure. Oh. I haven't hung out up there very much yet so far in this one. Up at the top. But that's okay. We'll get there. I'm not in any rush right now. Ah. There we go. Ooh, coffins. This was a good one too. Or an easy one at least, I think. Just break all the coffins. Bats. Ooh. I'm botching on the special stages. When I was practicing, I was doing this very easily. Like, I was beating like the bat stage, the mage stage, and the dragon head stage one, like fairly regularly. And I could do the that crazy wacky one with the eyeballs and stuff. Sakanaka, how are you doing today? Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you're doing well. We're playing ourselves some Devil's Crush. That's its name. No one can argue with me otherwise. It has a million names, but it's Devil's Crush. Not doing so great right now. I'm warming up. It's been a while. I actually kind of want to try to beat this game. So this may be one that I play around with for a while. Oh, it stinks. That was a terrible run. What you been up to, second account? What you been playing? Hope you've been playing something good. And thank you for the stomps. Yes, we need more stomps. Oops. Oh, I was distracted. You were playing Landstalker. Nice. Everyone should watch that. What are you doing? Go play Landstalker. How's it treating you? What do you think about it honestly? If it's not your bag, I totally understand, but I'd love to hear people's perspective on things, whether it's good or bad. Been liking it so far? How far did you get to? I'm guessing you saved a girl? You don't have to actually suck it out. It does support the up, down, left, right, like it does on the NES stuff, like with Solstice. If you want to do it that way, you actually can. That also just seems a little weird. That seems weird for me. So I very much more prefer doing the diagonals. Hey, Limp! Hey, Lorelei! Hey, Finley! Hey, Anomus! Okay, the city's great. Oh, the city's so much fun. Doing all the little gambling stuff and things. The gambling game is really fun. It's not an overly long game. But it's got some amazing music. What do you think of the music? That's what I'm all about right now. Yeah, I don't think it inputs quite as usefully. I like the diagonals. I don't know. It takes some getting used to for sure because it's isometric, and for most people who do isometric, it's a big adjustment, and that's okay. But for me, that's exactly how I like playing it. Hey, that's not a bad idea. Oh. They were actually going to remake Landstalker in 3D for the PlayStation Portable, and there was screenshots of it early, of some of the towns and stuff like that. I would be curious to know how that was going to go. But no, the music is spectacular, and the company that developed it, my goodness, Climax. Thank you. They do amazing music. Like, they worked on Shining Force 1 and Shining in the Darkness. They did like kind of they did the art and the music and stuff like this, and man, you can tell their use of the snare drum and it really, that's how we're gonna start. Of like that, you know, that marching drum. Yeah, in combat and stuff like this, absolutely. I'm with you. It's interrupted a lot. The only problem that I have with the Landstalker music is just that kind of the overworld music is essentially that through the whole game, and I wish there was a little more variety. But it's still an awesome song, but I just wish there was more. Also, I feel like the big warp tree music is weird. It's not bad, but it is very jarring. It's very different than the rest of the music in the game. It's very trippy. You wait, some of the best music comes a little bit after where you are in that game. I think it's really good music, and like kind of the big crux of the plot starts to take effect a little bit after where you're at. I think it's really good. I also love just the characters in general. So you have, like, you know, the comedy relief bad guys who aren't the real bad guys, and they're very entertaining. Yes, the Darkwood game house in Link to the Past. You're absolutely right. You nailed it. It has that same kind of, just this weird mischievous to it, but it is also just kind of, it's kind of off-putting. It's a little weird. We are not doing great right now. Whee! We also get out of Landstalker. There is a charm that I would say is kind of akin to a lot of the charm that something like Mario RPG had. It's just very kind of playful. It's mischievous. That isometric level to it is also super cool. But it's got a very interesting tone and playfulness, broad range of emotions, which I'm always a big proponent for. And it's fantasy Indiana Jones. Like, how could you say no to that? How could you say no to fantasy Indiana Jones? They also made another game on the Saturn, Dark Savior, which is another it's a 3D isometric. You can spin the camera around. Well, not really spin it. You can change it. It's different. It's also very good. It has a weird combat system that's kind of like a weird isometric fighting game. And it has like multiple different endings to it based on how you perform in like the first 15 minutes of the game. Based on what you do and how long it takes you to do something. In the very beginning of the game, it changes how the ending is going to be. It gets into this crazy multiverse story. It's wacky, but it's really cool. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite on the Saturn. And then, of course, Nigel from Darkstalker makes a reappearance in the Climax made RPG on the Dreamcast, Time Stalkers, which nobody likes, but I love. I never beat it, but I loved it. Because I love virtual pets. I dug this, it's a grindless game, right? Where you're always level 0 at the start of the dungeon. It's a dungeon crawler, really. And you always start off at level 0 every time you enter the dungeon. I got saved by the egg. Yes. But it features Nigel and Friday. And a lot of people didn't dig Time Stalkers, but also they didn't utilize one of the major features of that game. And that was, oh, it was close. You could, you capture enemies and you raise them, right? And so they become party members in the dungeons. But what was really cool about it was you raise them by putting them on your VMU. And they would do a little dungeon crawl in the VMU where you would feed them, train them, and have them do battles and stuff like this in this kind of virtual dungeon inside your VMU. And they would get more powerful and stuff like that. And that's really where the grinding and your character, like your enemies' levels and powers and stuff like that would really take effect, was that they would be doing that in there, so that when you use them, they would be more powerful and more useful. And you can do that for any enemy, which is even cooler. And you had a little farm. It was amazing. It was a lot of fun. So Alundra, a lot of people who worked on Landstalker went on to do Alundra. Oh my gosh. Did a lot of work on Alundra. Very different game. Very different in terms of style. It is it's much more Zelda clone. What just happened? I've never seen that before in this CS4. They're not related, Dwarf and Dad. They may look like it visually, and a lot of people who worked on Landstalker worked on Alundra. But just the type of game is very differently paced. So it's much more, its overworld is more like a typical Japanese RPG, and its dungeons are much more heavily puzzle-oriented than anything. It doesn't have a lot of platforming to it compared to something like Landstalker, where platforming is such a huge aspect of it. They're both great. Alundra's really, really good. Don't get me wrong. It would play more... Alundra plays more like Beyond Oasis, if that's an apt comparison, I think. It doesn't matter in the end. You know, whether you think it's like Landstalker or not, it's perfectly fine. But that's my perspective of it, at least. It plays a lot more like Beyond Oasis, or the old school Zeldas. Oh, dang it. So close. By the way, this music's great. I love Genesis music. Y'all who disagree, Genesis music in general, I think is super great, almost across the board. The only time it's really bad is in a bad game to begin with. You know, they just use the presets that came with the dev kits. They never played around with it. The Genesis music is just so cool. Yeah, we tried. That was a bad one. Yes, extra ball. I'll take it. It is. You're not wrong, right? You're not wrong. And I always like to say that, like, if you were to do the competition between Genesis versus Super Nintendo, right? The Super Nintendo has a lot of good music, right? But it doesn't sound as good. You know, it has those different instruments and things like this, but it's something that is composed really well that sounds better if played in like a live performance more than anything. And then Genesis doesn't have as good a hits as Super Nintendo, but the ones that they do have, I think, are far and away sound so much better. Yeah. You can do a lot more with the Super Nintendo one, but it doesn't sound as good, just audibly, right? I mean, you cannot tell me that anything on the Super Nintendo, sounds better than anything from Streets of Rage. You cannot tell me that something like nothing can beat the Streets of Rage soundtrack in terms of like 16-bit era video game music. That is, without question, for me, the greatest 16-bit soundtrack. Streets of Rage. I like it more than Streets of Rage 2. The first one. I'm a weirdo that thinks that Streets of Rage 1 is the best Streets of Rage game. But, he did, it's true. Yuzo Koshiro is just phenomenal no matter what. Like, to have such a high energy, but also so well-rounded and diverse in terms of like your compositions. He just makes a lot of everything, and it just sounds phenomenal no matter what. And it's just so complex and layered and interesting, and it's so crazy to listen to that Streets of Rage soundtrack. Like, I listen to that thing regularly. That is my, like, #1 go-to. Because it's just so phenomenal. The final stage in Streets of Rage is, like, that's the one. And then the little things, like, we're talking, you know, the Shining Force music is super good, and of course Landstalker is one of my favorites. And then even the weird stuff, like, say what you will, I dig the Rings of Power music. I'm also a bit of a masochist, so that's actually a high one on my list of Genesis games I want to stream and beat on stream, because it's a white whale. Rings of Power, for those who don't know, is a isometric RPG, Western RPG, made by a little-known game company called Naughty Dog. You might know them. They may have made a couple games, just here or there. Nothing too big. This was like their second big game outside of Keef the Thief on the Apple II and Amiga and DOS, which was a really cool dungeon crawler, actually. Which I had as a kid. That was one of my first games on a computer, on my Apple II GS. Also features a nude code. There is a code to get a naked lady on the beginning title screen. A very naked lady. But Rings of Power is bad. Very bad game. Yeah, Second Echo, I knew it because we had it as a kid, and I saw that code in a magazine, and I tried forever to get it, and I couldn't get it to work, and then one day I did, and I was like, ah! I was a prepubescent youth. But the game is interesting. Its story is not bad. Its world is interesting and engaging, but the combat system is nonsensical. It is random. It is difficult to play and manage. It is not an enjoyable experience. Its music isn't too bad. It has some stinkers, but also it's got some cool jams. I dig it a bunch. I will play it, and I will beat it someday. On stream, because I have to. There's these weird games that I have to beat at some point that most people would think I'm a crazy person for doing. I mean, I did beat Snake, Rattle, and Roll, so my sanity level is in question. But I also have a lot of classics I've never beaten, you know, that are on my laundry list of stuff to beat. I know so much more about games than what I've played. Someone earlier was on Sorry C-Man's Discord asking for horror games, and like, I don't play horror games. But what I do play, or do is learn about video games of every type. So like, I just know a million, and so I just love to talk about them. Like, yeah, this is a great one. If you dig this, you'll like this. Because one of the things that I do, one of the biggest things that I do that I love to death is just listening to people and their perspectives. So like, if it's not for me, it's for somebody. So I'd like to know who. I'd like to know why. My head is full of solutions for problem in games. I've never played because I used to always read the cheats, hints, sections, and game images. Like, we're born from this, cut from the same cloth in that regard. Like, I ate up video game magazines like it was a religion, right? I read so much as a kid and looked at the strategy guides. One of the big reasons I got so big into FMV games in general, was because Ultimate Warrior on the Sega CD, I would see the guides for that game, and I'm like, I loved fighting games at the time, and I'm like, FMV, first-person fighting game? That's amazing and revolutionary! And I ate up that guide like a crazy person. It's terrible, but, Tornado says, that is a very 90s topless lady. It is a very 90s topless lady. The people that brought you The Last of Us did that. Think about that for a second. Chief the Thief actually makes an appearance in Rings of Power as a guy who gets transported there after he succeeds in that game and is runs a ooh, that was close. Runs like a thieves guild. Jeez. This is a tough one, because like, it's tough to get that center spot, and then you also have those guys in the way that launch your ball into crazy trajectories. This is a rapid fire too, like they don't stop. What? That was in there. What was that nonsense? I made it into the hole. Am I supposed to just fight off these dudes now? What was that about? After watching Sharpie play Virtual Pinball for 200 hours, this game looks kind of dreamy by comparison. Oh man, Virtual Pinball is not. That was the. Is that the Virtual Boy one? Oh man. Wow. All the way to the bottom. I think Virtual Pinball's the. Nice. You got enough points for Vegetable? Oh, it's the Genesis one. Okay. I'll have to look at that one too. I haven't seen that one. Wow. Oh, construct your own pinball. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's kind of cool. I mean, when you think about it, it's kind of cool. See, I'm all about the way it's intended. I don't go extra. I never go extra. I'm always like, do it the way they wanted you to do it. Very rarely do I ever go extra. Come on, something happened. There we go. That sounds interesting. But yeah, I don't see wanting to like complete the entirety of that game, like beating all the tables and such, like no. Ugh, that was brutally bad. I don't feel like I did good, but my score says otherwise. I don't know where that score's coming from, but it's just not. Alright, last chance. Ah, so close. I actually want to try to beat this game. I want to do it. There's a way to. There actually is an ending. They do give you one. Like, there is a point to this game. Although the TurboGrafx 16 ending's different, or the way to get it in the original is different than in the Genesis version. Genesis, you have to beat all the special stages. I'm like, oh, that sounds very difficult. And the reward is not worth it. But I thought it should be a fun stream to have, just to kind of recenter myself. After going through, I felt like I played through Pokemon Crystal and Snake, Rattle, and Roll, and I really strongly was like burnt out. I was tired. I was exhausted after those two, like one after the other. And so I needed to have a break. So I played some Wander Song, which is like one of my favorite games and very chill. I just need to kind of play a nice, easy going thing. No low stakes. Low stakes. Oh, now I can't hit him. I love this music here. Why'd I hit him the one time and not all the other times? Hold on. Hey, Circman, how's it going, man? I assume that's what you were doing. Unlocking all the characters by beating the bonus stages and unlocking the boss. Yeah, so in this, it's you beat all of the bonus stages and you unlock a 7th bonus stage. Once you complete that, you just get this special image. Dude, I'm doing great. Lives a Snake Rattle Roll's a relaxing time. Yep, you bring the crazy, you take that crazy ideology and take it somewhere else. It's not welcome here. I loved the game. I will never play it again. Congrats, by the way, sorry, C-Man, on beating Final Fantasy. That's not a small task, to say the least. I think that was amazing. I don't have the patience to do it. Oh, no. Now he's stuck being invincible again. This is ridiculous. Why is he sometimes invincible and sometimes not? I do not understand. There! Oh, this nonsense. So you gotta hit like gauntlets. I get off. Oh! Dang it. Snake around a lot as a kid with no intention of ever getting past a certain stage. I just liked bebopping around on the first few levels and enjoying the music. That problem is kind of just tied to the format of streaming though. This is true. The Rift, hold on, so there's a lot of games like Snake Around World. I think they're really fun and relaxing when the goal is not to play it to completion. The rift there is widened, especially by streamers wanting to do complete runs only for the most part, and playing hours at a time too. A lot of games are just better to play for shorter segments. Yeah, see, like for me, my streaming is, you know, like 2 to 3 hours max. You know, never really anything longer than that, unless I'm like about to finish something or it's kind of a big moment. And I do it like 2 or 3 times a week. You know, I do as much as I can. I wish I could play more, but I just don't have too much free time. I mean, being a stay-at-home dad with 3 kids in a pandemic, with a wife who's a nurse in a hot spot in the U.S., where she's, you know, self-isolating and all that stuff, so it's kind of... I'm talking too much. Self-isolating. I got an extra ball. Alright. You don't have a lot of free time with all that. I wish I had more free time. Also, I do it that, you know, I'm DMing Dungeons and Dragons for J-Rod and Kitsurito and Flip and Lady Cat and Raze. That's another big segment of my time, which I love. I had so much fun doing that. Oh yeah, Lip. You'll get a lot of watching and not a lot of streaming. This is the thing I hate about, this is the bad thing about this game in particular, is this little thing here where I'm just gonna be going back and forth and I don't have to do much of anything. I'm just like, okay, when do I get to play pinball? Guys? Guys? Ah. Ah. That was terrible. Terrible. Okay, last chance. Come on. So close. Well, I've gotten the whole leaderboard. Oops. Gonna do this. We're gonna make some major progress here. I don't know what BP, BT, and BM means at all. Anyone can enlighten me on what that means on the right side of the score screen? I don't do too bad. I'm just having some bad luck. I also do feel like, so there's 2 facets here that makes this game a little more difficult for me in general. The first one is the screen size, right? So I'm playing in the virtual bedroom, and I do realize that I do play dramatically worse in the virtual bedroom than I do on a normal TV, simply because the screen's a little smaller for me. So that lower screen size really has a big impact on me. I have like terrible eyesight, and when I did Snake Rattle and Roll, I had to do it on a full screen emulator because I couldn't see it as well. You play worse in the real bedroom. Whoa. Woohoo. I'm overall pretty good in terms of like video pinball. I'm not like an expert pinball player by any stretch of the imagination, but I dig it a lot. So what's next for you? Sorry, C-Man. What are you gonna be playing next after you beat Final Fantasy? Failing miserably in the special stages lately. You should do some Saturn games, man. I love your Saturn streams, man. Magic Knight Rareth was great for me. Love that game. You did a great job on that. The world needs more Sega Saturn players. What's on your list? Like, what do you have on the docket for a theoretical future Saturn gameplay? If you have Dragon Force on that list, that's my number one. I know you had Burning Rangers, I think, on your list to beat too, which is really good. That's a short one. You can beat that in a sitting. That's, you know, that's like a 4-hour game. It's super short. Okay, yeah. Burning Rangers is super quick. I highly recommend it. If you ever do that one, that's a quick and easy beat. And it's a lot of fun. It's really good. I guess you could technically do both of them, both scenarios. They do have differences in the levels. If you play as Sho or Tillis. Oh, did you play Beyond Oasis yet, though? That's important. Make it an important distinction. Did you do Beyond Oasis yet? Because that's a sequel. You should do that first. It is a direct sequel. So Beyond Oasis on Genesis. Jeez, that was really close. Ooh. Oh, ow. Yes. It does, but it's one of those things where it has hindsight. So like you play the original and then you have the revelations of it. It's not necessary to play like the timeline in an order. Regardless, is good. Saturn was at a strange time, man, because like it had you know, you had games like D, and then when the developer was trying to push the virtual actress, so they had Enemy Zero on the Saturn, which was an awesome horror game. It's a science fiction horror game. It was really good, and it had that same main protagonist from D, at least visually. It was the virtual actress. They really thought that was the way of the future in terms of video games, where you take these assets for this character and kind of reuse them in games as an actor, It was a really weird idea. I thought it was really cool. Never panned out, of course, but I dug it. D, everybody always talks about D, and Enemy Zero's far better than D. Enemy Zero, D is kind of more of like a FM full motion video but not live action adventure game, right? Xander says, "Are you ever going to eat your Cheetos?" No, Zeta dude, never. They must be preserved for life. And, sorry, so D, everybody always kind of remembers as being a quote-unquote classic, and it's kind of just a stereotypical adventure game. It's just puzzles and you know, cutscenes as you move throughout a world in a first-person perspective. And Enemy Zero was a much more novel idea. It was really interesting because it was you could move around the spaceship in like real time. And then you had exploration of these rooms in like the typical adventure game format. And but what was cool about it was the enemies in the game were these invisible aliens, and the only way you could hear them or know where they were was these blips that told you what direction they were facing, like where they were to you. And the proximity was based on how quickly you heard these things. And you had a very limited charge on your weapon, so you had to be very surefire. And it was really cool. It's not in the grand scheme of things, it's not too jank. It's actually not bad. It's not as jank as a lot of games of that era. I think it's worth a play because I dug it. I never beat it, but I had a friend who was terrible at video games, but he loved it. But he was terrible at them, and that game he was like super good at. He beat it on the hardest difficulty level. Like he would like speed run the game, man. He was really, really good at it. And so I just watched him play it constantly, and he just nailed it out of the ballpark. It was a lot of fun. I'm a giant scaredy cat when it comes to horror games. Like I can't play them at all. I'm terrified. I can go in haunted houses. I love horror movies. Horror video games? Nope. Giant scaredy cat. I'm not saying Enemy Zero is a classic. Like, I'm not saying Enemy Zero is like the best game on the system or even one of the better ones, but it's not bad. Like, you can play it and you can have fun with it and you can really enjoy it. And it has something of novelty, like of novel value to it. It had a famous singer as the voice actress of the main protagonist, and it had a lot of value, even though it wasn't the best game, you know. But I like games with jank. I'm a person who, if you've got a little jank, if you have an idea, it may not be executed perfectly, but if you have an interesting idea and you present it in an interesting way, you got me set. Like I'm locked in. I like it. I like the game because I'm always about more interesting ideas. So, you know, you'll see me playing games like Tale of the Sun and liking it, even though Tale of the Sun is not a good game on the PlayStation, but I like it. LSD Dream Emulator, you know? Who likes that game? It's not really a good game. It's not really much of a game. Tale of the Sun is very neat. I think it's a really novel idea. But it's not very good. I mean, to be very honest, it is not balanced. It's not like, I like Tulip on the PlayStation 2. Terrible game. I love it. Tulip is a game about kissing and learning to kiss so that you can impress a girl as a kid. And you have to help people so that you can kiss them, including aliens, homeless people, boxes, tree people. It's just bananas. But I love the game. And the guide to the game is is the manual. You know, to Tulip. I think that's just really crazy. Well, knowing that, we like playing now. I'm glad you're playing this. I know, right? Thanks, Anna, dude. I do like classics. I do like good games, too. It's just that it's harder to impress me. Right? So, like, I take hot takes. And I'm not saying that they're bad, but, like, I think that Zelda A Link to the Past is the weakest Zelda. Out of all of the Zeldas. And, yeah, that's coming, though, from a perspective, right? It was one of the last of the games that I actually played. I wasn't a Super Nintendo kid growing up. So I played all these other amazing Zelda games before going into that, right? So I don't have the nostalgia factor that a lot of people do. And two, I didn't experience it in the time, right? So I don't have that context of understanding the impact of the game, even though I understand it, like, mentally, the impact of that game had on the games industry, but I was not there for that. And so I don't have it in that moment, and so it doesn't have as much weight in compared to a lot of other people who find it to be their favorite and the best. And I'm not telling them they're wrong, because they're not. I do understand why that game is such a big hit and why it is beloved, and it rightfully is beloved. But from just my perspective and where I came from in terms of experiencing that game, it's not the best for me. If that makes any sense. And like I always like to preface that. And like Super Mario World, again, least favorite Mario game out of all of them. Oh no, Redux and I have had this discussion. We've had this talk many a time. We still love each other, and her least favorite is my most favorite, which is Majora's Mask. I love Majora's Mask a lot. Majora's Mask is my second favorite. My most favorite is Link's Awakening. But I think that Majora's Mask is a better Zelda game than Link's Awakening. But it's my favorite is Link's Awakening. See? Ew. Majora's Mask is great. I have a much more connection to those characters and to that world. I enjoy its broad range of emotions, and it's like, what's your least favorite? I'm curious. Everybody has this discussion. It's always a great hot topic. Hey, Lip, you're not entirely wrong. I just felt that that Link to the Past was better executed than it's not Link to the Past. Sorry, Link's Awakening is better executed than Link to the Past. Ocarina is your least favorite? I'm going to be honest. I have never beaten Ocarina. I played it. I have beaten all but Zelda 2, Ocarina of Time, and Spirit Tracks. Yeah. And I played Ocarina at least, and I played Zelda 2, and I haven't played Spirit Tracks. But everyone loves Ocarina of Time. I feel like I'll probably be in the same situation as you, Xana, dude, of it just not having the weight. Especially because I also do feel like Majora's Mask is just spectacular. And that's the thing, right? You bring up a great point about it, like just not catching you. There is something that people, Majora's is just ahead of it due to the the event programming. Okay. I find it really interesting, like what people glamp onto, right? What about a game makes it interesting for them or makes it their favorite? And it's always very different. And even the same people loving the same game, they love it for very distinctly different reasons. And that's the important thing that you should learn when you start to learn about what makes a game interesting or good, is how other people connect to it. So when somebody says like, oh, this is my favorite, it's really important to understand why it is. Not to play the competition of what is objectively the best. We can make those arguments about what's objectively the best for an eternity and never really get anywhere. Because again, even that is subjective to a degree. Oh, you hate the 64? Oh man, I love the 64. But I'm also a very social gamer in that regard, so the 64 was definitely my kind of system. This is a tough one, man. This is a tough boss fight. Shoot. No, it's okay. I mean, I very much come from that thing that I think that people who like to judge games on an objective basis are doing a disservice to games in general, because I feel like that's just a fruitless endeavor. Because even then, what we value as important or well executed is also subject to our own prejudice and bias, our own perspective at that point. And so it's super important for people to recognize that, like, you can say what a game does well, right, and where its failings are, and you can point those things out. But inevitably, some people place different levels of importance on those things, and also some people experience those things that the reviewer finds to be a fault. They experience it vastly different, with a different perspective, and so that way when they encounter those shortcomings, they aren't shortcomings. They are... I always like to point out, there was a review for the game Zombie U on the Wii U. Always pointed this out. There's an IGN review for this, and they talked about how one of the failings of the game was that the gamepad, when used as a scanner for the surroundings to find if there was any items inside of containers, it doesn't show you if there is any items in a container. But that's not true. There is. There is, and they knocked it down because of that. I love Breath of the Wild despite its flaws and differences from the other games. My experience with it was spectacular. I'm with you, Xanadu. And I think that's going to... It's interesting is that I feel like... So everybody typically loved Breath of the Wild, and I bet you that over time, it's going to get more and more hate from people as being not a good Zelda game. Even if it is a good Zelda game. It's a great game. Yeah, it's not perfect. But it does a lot to shake up the formula that I feel are for the better. I don't miss big dungeons. I don't miss those at all. I very much enjoyed the shrines. I thought they were really great. But I think that people overall will start to look more poorly on Breath of the Wild because people are fickle. Very fickle. Kind of like Wind Waker. Everyone got caught up on the visual style being not what they expected, but given it a chance, it is a solid... Wind Waker is great, and it is, again, not even remotely close to perfect. It has lots of design flaws, but it's a very good game, and it's very imaginative and very true to the nature of what Zelda games are. The thing I dislike the most about... Hey, Sakanakawa, you're not wrong. It's great. I mean, it's Wind Waker's cinematic moments, its memorable moments, those things that kind of stick out about it, are some of the most powerful, right? I mean, Hyrule. That scene, that whole thing, absolutely awe-inspiring. And as a player, that is unmistakable. the first confrontation with Ganon in Wind Waker. Holy smokes, was that amazing! It's sound design, amazing. Its combat system and its use of music in combat, really interesting. It does so much really unique and revolutionary for games in general, and that its little flaws are I can overlook. You know, the Triforce stuff, kind of rough. But it does do one thing that is amazing that everybody needs to respect, and that has Tingle in it. Because I don't care what y'all say, Tingle's a god. We're doing Rosie Rupee Land someday. You know we are. It's gonna happen. Yes, Sakana Cow, you know what's up. Throw the Tingle out there. Come on. It's the truth. He is the greatest underdog, right? He's the one that everybody loves to hate, and everybody else loves because they're hated. Kalulimpa! I gotta play Rosie Rupee Land, man. I've got to. It's a must for me. I don't even know what you do in that stupid game, but I very much want to play it. Govlick saying, now it has the power to make people angry. Well, there's this, the stance I think that I also hold very much is that in reality, nothing's sacred, right? In video games, nothing is truly sacred, right? A person can love something, but it's that moment when you start to put it on this pedestal as untouchable, as above everything else in the hobby. That's when you've got to start breaking things down. That's when you've got to start tearing it down a little bit, because nothing is perfect. Nothing is truly sacred. You can love unconditionally. You can be passionate about these things, but the moment that you're passionate about something at the expense of everybody else's enjoyment, that's a problem. And that's a moment when you need to come to the realization that it's not that important. We're playing video games here, right? Nothing to say except for East Books 1 and 2. And that's, I think, a lesson that so many people need to learn, right? That games aren't sacred, and they're not untouchable. But you should treat things with respect, you know. But you should absolutely, and without question, never sit there and say that that something is so infinitely better than another. Like when someone says hey, I'm not big into Link to the Past. Nobody should be mad that I'm not into Link to the Past. Now, if I was A Link to the Past is garbage, and anybody who thinks it's good is a loser, that stuff, not okay. We all need a little bump system in our life. We need a little bump and grind. Loser. And that's super important. It's super important to take your own opinion down a peg. Well, that's the thing, Sakana Cow. It gives you perspective. It is interesting to see how people respond to some games that you love, and to have them have a hard time connecting with it. It says so much about the game. It says so much about the person. And it also just helps you as a fan of those things to better understand games, right? Having that perspective of other people's experiences and their own perception of something is super vital into better understanding how games play, how they're designed, and about what a person values in a game. Bah, Lip, if ever I like recommend a game to you that you end up playing, in reality, I'm not expecting you to go gaga for it, and that's a fault that I think a lot of people worry about with me very much, because I'm super stoked and super enthusiastic about pretty much everything. So they're always worried that if they take my recommendation, that they're not going to love it and it's going to like break me. And I'm like, no! I want your honest opinion about whether it worked for you or not, and to understand why. Because I think that just tells me so much more about the games that I love. Mind you, I despise garbage collectathons, and a lot of people really love Donkey Kong Country. Xana, dude, I don't enjoy the SNES Donkey Kong Countries. I do enjoy Banjo-Kazooie. I don't enjoy Banjo-Tooie. I think it gets out of control. And Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is really, really good. Tropical Freeze is so good. It is too good for its own good. It is amazing. But I get the collectathon thing. You can overdo it. I think that the distinction between Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie is a great distinction between going too far. Yeah, let's try this again. Nope. Oh, come on. Banjo-Tooie is the too far. Banjo-Kazooie is right on that line. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. And I can see why people don't enjoy the collectathon kind of stuff. Banjo-Tooie goes too far. But I also feel like Banjo-Tooie in particular, the game worlds are way too big and way too kind of empty. The variety of it becomes labyrinthine in nature based on how big the worlds are. It's harder to navigate. There we go. Whenever I say collectathon, I ask, what am I collecting? Why am I collecting it? Was this developed in Europe? Is this a port of something on the Amiga? Usually I end up turning it off and playing something else if I have to ask those questions. Xana, dude, you're striking very hard to my heart. I always talk about when people play platformers, and they're always kind of confused about, like, why is this bad? And I'm like, it's a European platformer. You got your Shadows of the Beast, your Jill of the Jungles, like, where you're just like, oh, they're not that good, guys. They're labyrinthine, where you're just kind of, there's no progression. Not like something like a Sonic or a Mario, right? Simple, left to right. And when you go right, you reach the goal. You always will. Here's just like, you have to go through just a huge variety of places all over the place. It says ocean when it loads up, it gets turned off fast. I don't disagree for you. Some people like those, but that's not my cup of tea. I think that's just poorly designed. And it's like another great streamer, Naori. He's playing gold box games, SSI gold box games on the from the PC, like DOS era. And the early ones are really interesting historically. They're not very good. They have great box art, and as they progress, they get better and better. But it's like, not very good. I find a lot of like game criticism videos. They talk about a particular problem in one game and make a valid criticism, but then people treat that as a black and white rule, where any game with X is obviously doing a bad thing. Welcome back, Dwarfman Dad. We're still chugging along, man. We're doing pretty good though. Our scores are going well. And in reality, I think truly great game design is about difficult, balanced decisions. Every game is made out of things you don't want to do. And Sakanakao, I don't even know if it's about balance, because I do feel that some of the greats are not balanced. Yeah, how much is too much? It's always riding that line, right? And every person's perspective of that is very different. Like, for instance, okay? You look at me right now. All right, I'm playing a pinball game, right? Love pinball. I love fighting games. I love competitive multiplayer games. I love social games where you're playing with people cooperatively, couch co-op, those sorts of things. But I also love the slow, intimate adventure game, or these games that have really deep narratives and are really about story as the forefront at the expense of gameplay. And so people find that very strange, right? Like, how can you like that and then like Twitch-based shooters, you know? And it's like, well, it's because I don't live in a black and white world. I do believe that my mood changes and what I'm craving or interested in ebbs and flows based on my perspective, and that is always constantly changing. And I always tell people about stuff like, when they play a game, like, it didn't click with me, and I'm like, but just realize that doesn't always mean that it'll never click with you. One of the great examples of that was me playing Metal Gear Solid. For years, I was trying to get into Metal Gear Solid, and I stunk. I couldn't get anywhere in Metal Gear Solid at all, and I would try, like every year, try to get into it again and not get anywhere and have a difficult time with the game. And then I was just like, I don't enjoy the characters, the story, I don't like any of this. And then one year, I tried it again, fired it up, my yearly attempt, and it clicked, and I was enthralled. And it was just that I was in a different place in my life at that time. I had an extremely good time playing XCOM, Terror for the Deep. Can't recommend it to anybody, because compared to the original XCOM, just all the dials are trimmed way too far. The original's already unapproachable. Oh, it is. XCOM, the old XCOM, is brutal. And Terror from the Deep is insanely hard. You're not wrong. Holy smokes, is that a tough game. It's unforgiving. And with a strategy game, that's even more difficult to deal with. Xander says, I mean, okay, Mario, for example. Most things you collect are for a reason. I can accept that, but when you're collecting various candies and gems and cakes to get points, but the points don't really have a reason for them, like no real goal for them, just as an indicator that you collected the throwaway item, my brain doesn't let me drop it. It gets annoyed with it. Anomus says, hi, I'm here now. Likely to be lurking. Hey, we're having a good night, Anomus. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're feeling better. You keep chugging along. Xander, dude, I feel ya, right? When you have a game where you're just collecting weird arbitrary things like gems in Kid Chameleon, right? It's like, sure, you get them or you get lives, but it doesn't feel like it's worth collecting. It doesn't feel worth collecting. See, I really wish I'd left more room in my game for difficult settings. I think they're really important for finding the balance you need to enjoy something. My next game is going to have like 7... You know what's really interesting? And I think one of the things I always liked, and I always think is a great thing to do in game design when taking into consideration difficulty is one of the biggest things that I think that most developers should do when having difficulty settings, especially in something that's with boss fights, like something of the kin of like a Dark Souls or a Devil May Cry, right? That is more action-oriented boss fights, those sorts of things, is attack patterns. Altering the attack patterns for your bosses to make them more complex when you're doing a harder difficulty level. I think that would be a big improvement that I think a lot of people don't do. Getting to those Falcom difficulty levels, like super ultra. Yes, there you go. I ate all my meals today, yes, and some friends threw me a virtual baby shower. So I'm super happy and thankful right now, but I'm having a lot of pretty painful Braxton Hicks compression. This time of night, I'm taking the time to practice breathing, being calm through them. If my tummy's going to practice for labor, I am too, so it's all good. Hey, Anomus, you know what? Your baby is just like a week and a half away. You've got this. You're going to do great. I'm super excited for you. At least you're at a point where no matter what, your baby is most likely very safe. So that is a positive thing to think about, right? If that baby starts coming tomorrow, you'll still be good. Second cause says, what I did try to do was leave several ways to accomplish most things in my game. So if it's hard, often it can be overcome by finding a different approach. But a lot of people don't consider it and just keep trying the first. You know what, second account? Oh my gosh, you are striking very deep to my heart right now. Because one of those things that always frustrates me when I watch people play is that they rarely ever think about, what is the goal here? What am I trying to do? What does the developer want me to do? They're always like, there's this thing, I gotta do this, I'm doing it, and it's not what you're supposed to do. You're making it more difficult for yourself, but you're being stubborn, and you're trying to pigeonhole the game to fit what you think is right. And they also oh man, I get in so many discussions with people about this, where they talk about how if the game doesn't let me do it the way that I want to do it, it's the fault of the game. But what they're trying to do is so outside of the spirit of the game. It's so outside of what the game has been training you to do as you progress and play. And people get so stubborn about that. And then they're like, well, this game sucks because it doesn't let me do it this way. It's like, well, you're not trying to understand the game. So that was something I really liked about Below that I played recently. The crafting system leaves you with so many options to prepare for any situation. I think that's super interesting. Giving people tools to solve problems, and then allowing them to use those tools in fun and interesting ways. And Nova says, that is a super awesome thing to keep in mind. She's a few days away from being full term. Which comes after Tuesday afternoon, because I have appointments. That's right, you have a massage. It's Tuesday, it's my birthday. Well, happy early birthday, Anomus. Fingers crossed she comes after that point. Second account, I love to point out, and a lot of people gave a lot of flack for the game Sea of Thieves, right? For being a game that doesn't have anything to do. And I always like to say it's a true sandbox game where it just gave you tools to play with. And then said, go play. And there were things you could do, you could play with. But of course, again, people were also like, it should be a single player game. I don't want to play with other people. Well, that's a different type of game. You're looking for something that's not what they wanted to do. I love when games give you tools to play with. I love when games offer you a choice in that way. But it drives me crazy when people are given those choices and only pick one, and that's it. And they never try anything else. I have a lot to say about like game design theory and about how people connect with stuff and how that stuff is some of the most interesting, but also some of the most frustrating, just in terms of the way that people behave. Because some people behave very strangely with games. They have a very complicated relationship. I'm sorry if I bore you guys with this talk. For me, like, this is what I enjoy talking about the most. So I do apologize if that is dull or boring. Please tell me to be quiet if ever that happens. You're more than welcome to do so. Bloodstained was good for how you play the game. Objectively, specific things had to happen. How you went about it and the options you had to do with it were fantastic. If you had to see someone play their character the way I played yours, that's awesome too, Sanity, right? What's weird is that, like, I've been surprised as to how much a Metroidvania has not been my thing, right? Like, you would think that I would love those sorts of games, and I don't know why they haven't clicked with me. Sorry, Super Metroid? Not happening. Not even remotely. And I don't know why. Fallout was a game that really surprised me like that. Immediately after beating it, I played through a second time with a completely different character. Oh man, Fallout 1 and 2, I mean, now you're speaking my language. I grew up with those games, and those were very much that, and they were really cool for that. I thought that they were something truly special in that regard. I have to give, Jared says, I can tell you, as somebody who is driving down the road listening to your conversation with everybody, that I find it very entertaining, in fact, riveting. Evening, Red Ox! Hello, how are you today, my dear? Well, Jared, I'm glad you were enjoying it on your road trip. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're being safe. I just feel, and I feel very strongly about, it's interesting. A lot of people having quote-unquote discourse about games is a frustrating and futile effort for me, because I don't like quote-unquote discourse about trying to make a case for somebody to enjoy something, right? Like having to sit there and someone saying, you know what, you convince me as to why this game is good or why it's worth my time. That sort of behavior bothers me to no end, because I feel like there's no real bad game. It's just that there's games that are for and are not for certain people. And you'll find that usually when you are, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I usually find that if you come in with the right perspective, you can enjoy anything. You can make your own fun out of a lot of games. But with Metroidvanias, it's always weird for me because, like, I like playing around with tools, but then I feel like it's the level design that is what gets me in Metroidvanias. I don't have a memory for those sort of things about, like, remembering, like, oh yeah, that area there, I need to come back with this thing, and I'll go there. Like that, those things like are in one ear and out the other, and they never stick with me with Metroidvanias. And I always wonder if that's the problem, what it is, and why did only a single Metroidvania has ever caught my attention for longer than a second, and that was the DS Castlevania game, Dawn of Sorrow. Like I ate that game up. But I can't get into Symphony of the Night. Why? I'm with you, Sakanagao, because, I mean, just because Symphony of the Night. It's always weird how much a game can be such a cultural phenomenon for games in general. Right, where they kind of define a genre, even if that genre existed long before that. We're talking Souls-like. We're talking roguelike. We're talking, Metroidvanias. There's such a huge cultural influence that it just shapes how everybody perceives games in general. It changes it all. For a long time I hated Castlevania games. Symphony of the Night was the first one I liked, but it was because it let you level up and change options and bend the game to your will. I think Sonic Knockout that my issue with Symphony of the Night is just simply time, right? It's a game that I need to prepare myself to play and to sit down and dedicate a lot of time to play it. Because I enjoy traditional Castlevania games a lot more, because they're straightforward, and I don't have to do a lot of wandering. And it's weird that I love wandering in adventure games and in like open world RPGs, but wandering in that style of game, it doesn't appeal to me. And it's something that I always try to figure out. I'm still trying to figure out to this day, because I just don't know why. I play through it at least twice a year. Certain things I try to accomplish. I beat my personal best for farming the Chrysogram last year with getting under 6 minutes of farming. Then did you speak in another language right now? It's so strange, the gaps of information that I have in some things. Like, for instance, right, on one of my lists of things that I've got to play is Final Fantasy VI. I know nothing of Final Fantasy VI. The one thing that I know is I know Kefka's music, because I really like that song, and I know there's an opera sequence. I don't know what that entails. I just know there's an opera sequence. There's a ninja? I have Final Fantasy VI on my Super Nintendo Classic. And once I get a capture card, which is proving to be impossible, I might add, I cannot get a capture card of any worth for the life of me. They're all sold out or way overpriced. They're out of stock everywhere, and I can get one for its retail price. It's in the UK, and I can receive it by October. And pay like $15 in shipping. And that's it. I can't get me a capture card for the life of me. And it makes me sad. I'm like, I really want to go get a capture card so I can play some of my favorite games that I can't play because I have a potato for a computer. I was looking for an Elgato, the 60, the one that plugs into your PC. What is it? Hey, let me look it up real quick. It is HD60, but the one that plugs into your computer. I don't know what it's called. Yeah, I don't know. Words. Who uses them? You have a Hobbit Rocket. They're okay-ish. Yeah. I can't get a hold of them. Yeah. And I want an internal one just because I've got the slot for it on my PC, but also I just feel like it'll be a lot more reliable. And like I looked like maybe there's a Razer one, but then I'm like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like if I get an Elgato, I'll probably have a much easier time with it. It's true, Sakataka. Well, it's crazy though. Is how much they actually change on a daily basis. You'd be surprised how much your mood affects your taste in games. What's going on in your life directly affecting your taste in games. I know, you know that if I'm playing a grind-heavy game, You know I am horrifically depressed. You know I'm in a bad place emotionally if I'm grinding and loving it. Be concerned. I use the USB 360s right now. I don't like its driver as much as the Game Capture HD, but it has less latency, so less messy with syncing. I have 3 capture cards as a failsafe though. The internal 60 is good if you want to record and stream gameplay simultaneously. Sort of way to experience the difference of perspective firsthand, like Nico says. Yeah, you're right. I'm surprised the people who make the Pinball FX games haven't made a Crush tribute yet. Hey, we'll see you later. Welcome to the stream. How's it going? Welcome to the virtual bedroom. You're a new face, so let me show you around. I apologize for the surroundings currently because I've been playing a lot of, Hey, have a good night, Second Cow. Take care. I usually set my surroundings based on what I was playing. This is a pop-up stream. I was playing a lot of NES Open Tournament Golf recently, so everything's kind of golf-themed, but welcome to the virtual bedroom. This is a virtual space. It uses RetroArch as its emulation. It's fully customizable. I've been playing a lot of golf games, prepping for an upcoming golf tournament with the Renaissance, who's a really awesome streamer, really nice guy. So it uses RetroArch as its emulation. You can have multiple TV setups playing multiple emulators at once, a full light gun support. And hey, have a good night, Sorry, Human. It's a great pleasure to see you, and welcome back. I missed you, buddy. And it even simulates the red, green, and blue grill marks on the TV. It's crazy. It's crazy. I love this thing to death. It's my favorite. And so welcome to the stream. I'm Bogus Meat Factory. I play a little bit of everything. I'm a lover of games of all types. If you listen to me rant incoherently in the last half an hour, I talk a lot. Lover of everything. No gatekeeping. No putting games on a pedestal, no having a massive ego. Everybody's welcome. I'm not a person who believes that my opinion is the be-all, say-all. It's just another perspective in the grand scheme of video games. We're all just having fun. So I'm guessing Pinball brought you here. I am playing this game really for the first time. I practiced a little bit this morning before the stream started, just to kind of get a feel for it. I love pinball. I'm by no means good at pinball, but I do pretty well, especially with a lot of video pinball. I found it a lot easier than real pinball. But I love pinball to death. But again, I'm not very good. I've beaten some video pinball games though. Like some of the classics on Pinball FX too. Like Arabian Nights and Bride of Pinbot and that sort of thing, where you completed all the objectives in the game. I just love all games. Been playing them for over 33 years now. Almost 34. Sandy says, I've been meaning to organize my desk and living area today. Guess who got absolutely nothing done so far? Night night, Lorelai. Xander, dude, it's okay. I know there have been many instances where, like, today is going to be a great day. I'm going to get so much done. It's going to be awesome. And then, I mean, because of all of the stuff happening in the world, I was just like, nope, not today. Not happening. Nope. I just don't have it. And you just don't have that drive, and that's okay. Like, my accomplishments in the day are that I play with my kids, I get dishes done, and food is cooked. And that is, like, some days, the best I can do. That's the best I can do that day. And that's okay. My wife, she's a nurse, and, like, she has been doing some, like, outside gardening as her, like, way of kind of getting out, because she's in kind of self-quarantine, essentially. But going outside, she goes out to do, like, gardening, and we started a garden and stuff. And there's just one day where she stayed in her room, and she's not coming out, even to, like, get her food, or even just to say hi, kind of in passing. She's a nurse, and she's never had the civilian quarantine experience. She works so hard. She's like, why do I feel so unmotivated to do anything? And I'm like, welcome to quarantine. You really haven't had, like, a day off, you know, and now you finally kind of do, and you haven't gotten the full experience. Congratulations. Welcome to an existential dread. Oh. We can do this time. This is a tough one. Just because that head. Nice, Dwarven Dad. Yeah, luckily my kids went to sleep for the most part. For the most part. My oldest is a bit of a pain in the butt, but other than that, we were great. What do you mean? I still got that energy. I'm a spry youth. Oh, jeez. Nope, nope. Stay on target. Stay on target. Oh, no, come on. We were right there. Like, one more hit. Come on. We were so close. At one point, I was like, I just wish I wouldn't wake up with random pinched nerves every 3 to 4 months. Xander, dude, I'm getting there, man. The other day, my back went out on me like a couple months ago for the first time ever, and it was an excruciating experience. At one point, about an hour ago, she was running up and down the hallway and around the fireplace, just yelling and running. I could tell she didn't get to go outside today. And Dorf and Dad, like one time, my kids were overtired and just super hyper, and we had the idea of letting them go outside to get some of that energy out, and it was a bad idea because they were already super tired. And it's like, no, not a good idea. They needed to go to sleep. And it would have been tough, but you know what? It would have been a lot less tough than being outside right now and then trying to get them to go to sleep. Oh no. No! Back to this guy. Come on. There we go. Mosquitoes will carry away if she went outside right now. Oh, that's the truth. That's the truth, Dorf and Dad. Mosquitoes are bad right now. Real bad. Nope. Nope. God. Every time. I'm gonna get that someday. I'm not gonna screw it up next time. I swear. Get in there. Ren, how are you, good sir? I hope you're doing wonderful. How's life? How are you doing, Ren? It's good to see you. We're taking a little break today with some video pinball. This is Dragon's Rage, Demons. I don't remember words right now. I don't know what I'm playing right now. Demon Spouse, Rajabush, Daman Lava Lava Lava. Demon Crash / Demon Crush. Demon's Crush is what I'm playing. Thank you, me. And it's a great game. It's a really great video pinball game. I don't know if you've ever done much in video pinball, Ren. Are you a pinball person? Inquiring minds want to know. You're not a pinball person. Have you ever played much of it, or are you just not interested? It's not your thing. Okay. Well, this is super good. This is a really great one on the Genesis. Originally the TripleGraph is 16. We're just having to chill, play pinball, and talk. Although I'm now starting to get more and more like intensely focused on this. I'm like, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to achieve this. Victory will be mine. There's a way to actually beat this game. It's not easy, and I have not even remotely come close. But I'm just playing for funsies. I don't expect to beat it. I just plan on just playing around with it. Which is better, Xander, dude? Alien's Crush or Demon's Crush? You beat what? You beat Jekyll and Hyde? I'm sorry? We got the ball stuck. You beat Jekyll and Hyde, Ren. Whoa. Also, look at this. On. Thank you. Whew. That's crazy that you beat Jekyll and Hyde, Red. That's insane. What madman decided they were going to try to tackle that? The game doesn't make any sense, Ren. The game doesn't make any sense. You're going crazy talk right now. Show me on the doll where Jekyll and Hyde touched you, because seriously, only crazy people would make a statement such as that. I'm worried about you, Ren. You doing okay? Has the quarantine really got you this bad that you're like, Jekyll and Hyde? It's a great game. Never played it, just knew its reputation, but I put it on my Everdrive. I have to say, I love the concept and look at it. Controls are god-awful, but it's cool. Commit me! Yeah, that's what made me want to try it. Yep, it's not great. It has cool aspects to it, you think. Ren, I've never played it, so I'm one to talk, right? I'm one to talk. I never played it. I just know it by its reputation. I've seen it be played. I've seen it even explained. Maybe, Ren. Maybe. Maybe, Ren. Our brains work in different ways, you and I, Ren. We behave with little rhyme or reason behind what it is that we enjoy, what we find attractive or engaging in a game. It's just maybe. Oh, perfect. Nice. Say no spoilers because I know everybody wants to play it, but at the end, finally relentless stops. You just have to walk for like 2 minutes with no enemies and it's glorious. You know what? That does sound beautiful, Ren. That does sound very peaceful. The beast within has ended. The madness of society has finally come to an end, and all is right with the world. Okay, let's try the freak. Look at this, Ren. Look at this. Look at this. Bask in this madness with me. You know. This is a thing of beauty. I think you have that stubborn curiosity, and you know, Ren, you know I do. You know I do. The stubborn curiosity. The want to like a game at any cost. And the harder it is to like a game, the more I want to like it. Beat Groans! How's it going? Hope you're doing well, man. Long time no see. Hope you're doing great. What you been playing? What you been up to? We're just chatting and playing pinball right now. It's a low stress stream. Although there are these moments where I get a very competitive gaze upon me, where I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I didn't know you could have that many abs. These are great. This is great because this is a lot of fun. Even just to play for fun without the intention of actually quote unquote beating it, and you can beat this game. It's a lot of fun. It feels low stakes. You're just kind of enjoying it. It's not hard by any necessary means. Some of the special stages are a little challenging, but it's a ton of fun. Like that. That's BS, but you know, who cares? I finally got all my systems hooked up and ready to go in the new game room last night. Oh, B-Crons, what game did you christen that room with? Or have you not done so yet? This is important questions to ask. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. There's the last one there. You don't lose any balls for going out on the special stages, but man, I really wanted that one. It was really close. Come on, get up there. Get legs. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Finally came in. I haven't gotten to play it yet. My TurboGrafx 16 Mini comes in next week, so that's cool. Nice! P-Crowns. I know very little Final Fantasy. This Final Fantasy VII you speak of, only because my attempts to beat it have always ended in corrupt save data or irreversible glitches that I can't get around, errors and stuff like that. So I've never gotten very far in Final Fantasy VII, or beaten it by any stretch of the imagination. And again, it's a situation where I know very little outside of one very particular facet. Haven't broken it in yet. By the time I was done, all running cords and wires, it was time to walk the dogs. Oh! There's always tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. Music in this game is great, Dwarven Dad. We were talking about it earlier, and just about how awesome the Genesis sounds. And yeah, it may not have as diverse of a sound, you know, as the Super Nintendo. It's crisp, it's clear, and it rocks. It rocks so much. Oh! That might have been the highest score so far. I think it was. Let's save the last chance. Let's see if we can get it. Ah! Let's spend some time in there with the TurboGrafx 16 Mini. What would be the first TurboGrafx 16 game you would play in there? What is it you're salivating for, do you know? Do you have one in mind? We're gonna play one more game, and then I think it's gonna be it. That's the worst. The woman's face is familiar. I get some Brida Pinbot faces. Ran, that's what I get. When I see this, I'm very heavily reminded of the pinball game Brida Pinbot. The game's the whole goal is to make a robot woman real. And it's very much like the anti Brida Pinbot, where you're making this woman turn into a dragon to then enter his mouth. Ah, what is this visage before me, but that of the supple eyes and sweet cheeks of a beauty far beyond my imagination. And yet it's within every inch of my body that I yearn for her touch, caress, and the gaze to be laid upon me. Yet why do I obsess? And to what end do I hope to come across this fair maiden, this desire? But could it only be like Icarus reaching for the sun, only to burn? How sweet would that burn be? Love you, Ren. You're great. Blazing Lasers, Bonk, Kadash, Ninja Spirit, Ninja Gaiden, R-Type. Nice. Excellent choices. I love me some Bonk. Bomberman, was it 94? Bomberman something 92? That's a really good one. The Bomberman games on the TurboGrafx 16 are great. Some of the best, I would say. I also dig the Jackie Chan game on the TurboGrafx 16 is really good. It's also on the NES, but not as good. Oh. Get in the hole. Get in the hole. Get in the hole. I'm trying to get in where that arrow is. Come on. Get in the hole. Are you too good for your home? There we go. I've never beaten this one. I've beaten all the other bonus stages at one point or another. This one in particular, I have not beaten. This one's the toughest one for me personally. Yeah, there's just too much going on. Legendary axe, good, very good. I'll stream a little bit of it, but I doubt that I'll have the time to dedicate for a stream. That's okay. When you can, right, Beakrons? We'll be here. You let us know, too, by the way, when you decide to. I'll watch that for sure. I always feel like the TurboGrafx 16 doesn't get as much love as it deserves. It's a great system. My cousin's half-brother had a TurboGrafx 16, and I used to love playing Bonk. I remember, this is so crazy, right? Just remember, not so far back as even the Wii days, right? The Nintendo Wii comes out with a virtual console, and it has TurboGrafx 16 games on it, and how much that was like a mind-blowing experience for people at that time, because like outside of emulators, those stuff was never commercially available, and like this idea of being able to pay for that stuff and support the actual like companies that own the rights of that stuff. It was a great time to be alive. Wish we still had that. Not gonna lie. Dude, Lip! Thank you for subscribing. Samba Digione. Da 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 da. Yes, Konami are jerks. Say what you will of the games and the people that work there, but Konami as a corporate entity are jerks. Limp can now stomp with the best of us. Welcome, Limp. Limp, Limp, Limp. I just saw those feet, and all I could think about was me limping after beating Snake, Rattle, and Roll. Now, they wouldn't do that, Dwarven Dad, because they have very, very specific standards on what they want to have it be, and it has to be 100% accurate emulation. It has to have all these features that they want to put into it that isn't currently available on the Wii Virtual Console, and so like they're just never going to do that. And also, it is a tangled web of rights. Like, it's in a perfect world, yeah, let's have everything. Why don't we get it all? But then there's just so much red tape involved with that, of getting all these companies on board, getting everything to work right, and also Nintendo wanting to have very specific control on how those things are emulated on their systems, that the original right holders have no say on those things. They want it to be that way. You know, Nintendo's very stubborn in that way. Yes! Give them the meats and the feet. Feet meats. And I get where Nintendo's coming from in that regard. They want to keep things to the standard that they would expect, and they can't do so if they give that off to other companies to do. You know. Do I wish in a perfect world that it was that way? That we had just all those games? 100%. A snatch up Castlevania Run of Blood. Yep. Oh man. Great decision. Beat Groans. Wow, we're close in the last chance. Alright, we're gonna do one more run. And I call it a night. I'm exhausted. It's been a long day. We'll do one more game. And go say hi to somebody. I've yet to be in a position where getting the password is helpful. Oh my gosh, we're already down here. One more game. Famous last words. I'm well aware of my weakness there. You're not wrong. Oh, almost made it. That was close. That was very close. Oh, come on, dude! No! The ball's really stimulating my girlfriend there. Look, we're gonna do more Captain N next week. I don't know if it's gonna be again on Saturdays. I'm gonna talk to Keeglif about it and see. Because, man, I feel bad that we had to end Dungeons and Dragons early. Because I was having too much fun in Dungeons and Dragons. It was going so well. Yo, we're doing so great. We're gonna figure out your technical difficulties, Lip. We're gonna get it all figured out. You and I. There might be one more game after this. This is pinball nonsense. Pinball nonsense. Yeah, we're doing one more. We're doing one more. That's not okay. We're not crunching on that. We have to have a meaty, bony crunch. Let's do this. We can do the bat one. Just a coffin full of bats. Nothing else. Just a bunch of bats. They buried a big old family of bats in a coffin, and I'm just freeing them. The family reunion, guys. I'm doing you all a favor, and I may be bursting you into flames by smacking you in the face with my balls, but I can assure you it's for the betterment of your own family. Ah! Yes, they can be beaten, B-Crones. So there isn't an end sequence. If you come in the TurboGrafx 16 version, all you had to do was get the highest score possible. On the Genesis version, how you beat it is by beating all the special stages. It unlocks a 7th special stage, and once you beat that, you get an ending sequence. So far, I've never been in a game where I've beaten more than one special stage at a time. That's my predicament right now. I always get to like right at the end, and then something just kind of flubs it. come on. You guys, I know you're extenuating your will here when I said this will be the last one. You're like, sure it will, and you're absolutely right, sure it will. We might do another one after this, because this is going poorly again. One more game, bum bum bum, we're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright, don't stop to dancing. One more game, we're gonna celebrate. Alright, oh yeah, don't stop to dancing. Into the dragon's maw. Uno mas. To quote the great Jackie Chan in the American epic known as Shanghai Night or Shanghai Noon. Uno mas? You know, the classic one. I can't get back to Ted dancing. Don't stop Ted dancing. So like, they say don't stop the dancing. But it's you really want to say don't stop Ted dancing. Because you can't stop Ted dancing. You can stop the dancing anytime you want. But can you honestly? Honestly, which one of you can honestly say they can stop Ted dancing? Do I stop dancing? No, I never stop dancing. No one can stop Ted dancing. Not you, not me, no one. I think it's ON. Okay. This is the real last game, okay? This is the real last game. Welcome back, Weather Red Ice. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Oh, come on, skeletons. And there's some kind of pop song a while back that said, "Please don't stop the music." I always said, "Weasel stomping music." Weasel stomping music. I'm almost done with season 2 of the new DuckTales. So good. I have yet to watch any of the new DuckTales, and I am absolutely going to regret that someday. Got one in bed. She wants to see me, and I'm watching a relaxing show. Aww. No regrets, or in my case, no regrets. Oh, come on. Put your Viking helmet on, spread the mayonnaise on the lawn. A ginger blueberry kombucha? What crazy archaic alchemy are you up to with a blueberry ginger kombucha? I'm gonna play one more game. This is ridiculous. Raspberry seltzer. Ooh. It tastes so awful, but now I have to. Oh. Oof. We're doing one more game. One more game. One more. We're failing. I'm just staring at chat now. I'm just like, yeah, I'm playing pinball. Yeah. Maybe cool right now. Don't mind me. Ooh, Izzy, I might go raid that after this match. I knew he was playing. I gotta go say hi to that. Hold on. Hey, I got it down to one bot now. Games are like a drug. It's an odd flavor, Bogus, but it gets the job done. Must have hit a period accidentally. Run, but I'll try to stop back in Kron. This is gonna be my last one, beat Kron's, and then I'm gonna go hit up Sakanova's stream because I gotta support Landstalker. It's a must. I must. Okay, come on, you can do this. You can do this special stage that you've never beaten before ever. Because it does, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. I think I gotta break the gate down, but I've tried to get in there and it wouldn't let me. So I have no idea what I'm supposed to do in the stage. Oh, come on. One day I'll get it. One day I'll get to taste that victory. That sweet, sweet victory. That's a special stage I've never beaten. In practice, I've beaten a bunch of these special stages. On the stream, I've beaten like 2. I also feel bad 'cause, man, when I played NES Classic, or NES Open Tournament Classic, yeah, I did amazing off stream. Did terrible on stream. Okay, right. Let's see. Whoops. Ooh, I think I'm going to have a bubbly water myself to lose some better tea. Nice. Okay. Let's do this. I can beat the dragons. We've beat the dragons a million times before. I can beat the dragons now. If I do, I'm getting a password. Because I haven't lost a ball yet in this one. That'd be a good one to have. No, come on! Mate takes Aussie on the links for a few rounds before bed. Nice. Tomorrow I'll have Zoom calls straight from 8:30 till noon, then a break, and then another from 2 to 3. And then grocery store time. Kids and I need to do homework. Welcome back home, J-Rod. I hope you had a wonderful drive. It was scenic and lacking any and all stress. Being on the road stresses the snot out of me. In the skull. Spit me out. Spit me out, Bone Daddy. No! Ah, my brain is tired. My brain is so tired. I got a case of the loops. Come on, get up there. Oh, that was that. Okay, everybody. I'm calling it a night. Let's go see who we're gonna raid. Let's go take a look. Oh. What'd I get? Nope. Okay, let's go see who we're raiding. Twitch! Oh, Twitch! Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find, catch me a catch. Let's go say hi to Sakanako. I think he's the one. And I don't have him on a follow. So I'm gonna put him on a follow. We're gonna view him. It's a pleasure. Have a great evening. Thanks for hanging out. It was an absolute pleasure. You guys are the best. Sweet dreams. Mwah. 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 Goodbye.